The Chargers, who, man, they had a really good draft. I think it's the best in
Mm-hmm.
the AFC West, and they were already the second best team. I think they definitely got better, and I think they're going to compete for a playoff spot this year.
They got better not only in the draft, but in free agency as well. They had a really good free agency period as well. We're getting Corey Linsley, and they got another offensive lineman too. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they got pretty good. They got 9 players, 4 defensive, 5 offensive players. Number 13 was their first pick that they had in this draft. They nabbed an absolute stud of a dude, Rashawn Slater. He's
Yeah.
gonna be he's gonna be a really good offensive lineman at the next level. If you go and watch that Big Boys Club or Big Boy, I think it's Big Boys Club that they have on YouTube, it goes Trey Smith right into Creed Humphrey, which is nice for Chiefs fans, and then right after Creed Humphrey, it goes right into Rashawn Slater. And I always find myself watching the Rashawn Slater one because man, that dude is like built too. Like he's a brick house. He knows what he's good at. He knows what he's not good at, and he's always aware of the situations he puts himself in and everything like that. He's a very good offensive lineman. I really like that pick for Los Angeles. And you start looking at their offensive line now, you're like, okay, they got some dudes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the Chiefs know that when you have a young stud quarterback, it is all about protecting him. And the Chargers definitely investing in Herbert. He's a guy where I mentioned this on Twitter, and I know it doesn't make a great deal of sense, but he was so good at doing stuff when the plays broke down last year. He wasn't great from the pocket. So getting him some help will help him in the long term, I think. But this year, he's going to have to improve quite a bit when he plays within some structure and stuff like that. So it's a good problem to have that you have to teach your quarterback to kind of rein it in a little bit and chill out and play, not have to play when you're running around like your life depends on it. So
Hmm.
that'll be fun. And then, man, they got back to back dudes at 47 and 77. Asante Samuel from
Yes.
Florida State, a fantastic pick. He's undersized, but I still like him even on the outside. And then Josh Palmer, I think 77 is a good spot for him. Like I
Hmm.
thought he was a mid to late third round pick, early fourth round pick maybe. Compared to the board, man, he reminds me a little bit of Mike Williams. He has that size and profile, so he could potentially replace him or complement other receivers. And then Trey McKitty from Georgia. I mean, they had a
Yeah.
run like 1 through 5. Their first, or I guess that's 4. Their first 4 picks. I loved
Hmm.
every single one of them.
I'm right there with you. Josh Palmer is a guy. The note I wrote down by Josh Palmer was hard eyes. The dude is a stud. He was one of my favorite receivers throughout this whole process. Kent Swanson from KC Sports Network now was really high on him. I think that it's really exciting to see him get drafted at number 77 because he was far down there on the board. He
Mhm.
was like 200 ish, but when we started this whole draft process, I'm happy for Josh Palmer that he went at number 77. Not too happy that he's going to be facing off against the Chiefs for 2 times a year. And we start to look at the back half of the draft with Chris Rumpf, Brennan Jameis. I thought was a little bit of a reach. I didn't. I see. I think Trey Smith's better than him, but then Trey Smith's medicals scare people off.
Yep.
Brennan Jameis everywhere that I looked was like a 200-ish guy, and he got picked at 159, which is close. But I mean, I think that it's
Still,
good depth
yeah,
for them. Yeah, I thought it was
yep.
a little bit of a reach. At a 185, they took Nick Neiman, so we're gonna get the Ben Neiman Nick Neiman face off 2 times a year. It's really what everybody needed, right? Is a Ben and Nick Neiman face off,
I just wish they were on separate sides of the ball,
right?
and then they could actually literally play each other. Like if Nick was a wide receiver and then Ben, or Nick was a tight end and Ben was
Hmm.
carrying him up the flat as the dime linebacker, something crazy like that. It would be a lot more fun, but good for them that they're going to be facing each other in some way, shape, or form at least twice a year.
Yeah, it's exciting. Last 2 picks here. It's picks that are like, okay, I can see good value. Larry Roundtree the third. I like Larry. He's a Mizzou guy, so I'm always gonna, give him the benefit of the doubt. Obviously, like I've given Drew Lock the benefit of the doubt for probably too long. And at 241, they picked Mark Webb, which I thought was an okay pick. I thought that was pretty solid.
Yes, Mark Webb, solid pick, especially in the 7th round. I mean, the Chargers
Hmm.
had a very deep draft. They had a sound one. They got a couple studs. They got some guys who could fill in long term. And then they did what they were supposed to do on day 3, which is kind of round out the roster overall.
I think that their draft was one of the best in the league, in terms of getting better for the short term and the long term. The Chargers did a really good job of that.